a teacher asked her children in religion class question, and one little boy answered the question was what to him was what did you give your are you going to give your sister for Christmas? And he said, I don't know. And she said, well, what did you give her last year? And he said, chicken pox. So we hope nobody gets a gift like that at Christmas time. But we are beginning to think about this season, and in our minds and our hearts is the word gift. And that certainly is what it's about, first of all, from God. That God gives us the gift of life. And so much does he value and treasure our lives that he gives us the gift of his own divine Son to be born into this world as a poor baby in Bethlehem so that we could be saved for everlasting life. It's the beginning of a very important season in the church year. It's the beginning of the church year, really, today. And you find the readings a little bit confusing because it talks about the end times, and you don't know when the Lord's going to come. He's going to be like a thief in the night, and it gets a little confusing. We go back to the prophet Isaiah, and the background there was that the people had just been defeated by a terrible war from the Assyrians, a rebellious, conquering people who were in what is modern-day Iraq. Fighting is still going on there. But Isaiah was giving the people hope that the Lord would come and make all things right. The Lord would bring peace. The Lord would bring everybody together in unity. And he gives them hope. And the scriptures remind us that today, as we begin the season of Advent, we have 3 celebrations of the coming of Christ. First of all, as he was born as a baby in Bethlehem. Secondly, he comes to us in the church, in the sacraments. And thirdly, he will come at the end of time with judgment for all of us, where there will be total unity among us all with God in heaven. And so where we are now is before the already and the not yet. Already the Lord has come. Already he has redeemed us. And the not yet is the end of time. And so in the meantime, what are we to do? We live in the church, and we live by the grace of God through the sacraments of the church. We stay united with Christ and with one another. And it's so important that we do that. The word light comes up often in the scriptures tonight. St. Paul tells us that we have to flee the darkness, not be children of the darkness, but children of the light. And we should put off all sinful things in our lives so that the light of Christ can shine through us. There was a parish having a children's Christmas pageant in the church, and one of the little girls who was going to have a part in it told her mother that she had a very important part to play. But she said, I'm not going to tell you what it is until you get there, you can see. So the night came, and everything was arranged in the church. In one corner of the sanctuary, there was a group of shepherds, kind of nervous, and probably they were out in the field. And then there was the stable, the manger, with Mary and Joseph on either side of it. And then there was a section where there were the magi and the camels and so forth. And just between the magi and the manger, there was a chair. And the little girl, Janet, was sitting on that chair. So the narrator begins that Jesus was born of the Virgin Mary at a stable in Bethlehem, and Joseph and Mary named him Jesus. And she got up and walked over with a pole that had a star on top of it, all wrapped in aluminum foil. And she walks over and stands behind the manger and lifts up the star real high. The star shows that he appeared there. And then she jiggles the star a little bit and gets the attention of the shepherds. And they start walking towards the star. And they find Jesus in the manger. Then she walks over to the shepherds, to the magi and the 3 kings, and she has them follow her. She takes them to the stable, to the manger, and they find the child Jesus there. Well, after it was all over and she was driving home with her mother in the car, she said to her mother, you see, I had the most important part in the play. And her mother said, well, wondering what she's thinking, can you tell me a little bit more? And she said, well, I was the star, And she said, I led everybody to find Jesus. I had the most important part. Well, out of a child's mind, how true that is. Her part was to lead others to Christ. And that's part of the message of the scriptures tonight with St. Paul, with our Lord, that we're all called to be the light of Christ by our lives. We say at the end of Mass, go now in peace, glorifying the Lord by your life. And that's what we're supposed to do, to be a sign of Christ's presence in our world today. It's a difficult challenge. And yet the lights of the Christmas season are so important to remind us of that. Not only the lights and the candles here in the church, but the lights on your homes, the lights on your Christmas trees, the lights you see all around the neighborhoods. They're all signs that December is the darkest month of the year in our hemisphere. And Christ is the light of the world. He's born and pierces through the darkness to be a light for all of us. And so all the Christmas lights that we see, we should think of that throughout the Christmas season. And as far as gifts go, we have to balance, what was it, $34 billion they're saying Americans are going to spend on gifts this Christmas. And Black Friday seemed to be a good start at that. It's not bad. We're buying gifts for each other. And as I said, we're imitating Christ. If we give gifts out of love for Christ to another person who we see Christ in, then we're following the gifts giving at Christmas. And that's really what it's all about. So as we begin this season of Advent, what do we need to do? I think during the season of Advent, to prepare to celebrate the Lord's birthday, we should pray a little bit more, maybe pray a rosary, meditating on the joyful mysteries once in a while. Come to daily Mass or come to adoration on Thursday night. Come and celebrate the sacrament of penance to flee the darkness of sin and live in the light of Christ. All those things that we can do by prayer certainly will make us more ready to receive the Lord into our hearts on Christmas Day. So we thank the Lord for his message tonight, and we ask him to help us to be his light by what we say and what we do in our day-to-day lives.